Hello again, preschoolers. For our last read aloud this week, I wanted to read a story about kind of a different place to grow a garden. Often when we think of gardens, right, we think of big fields or lots of space or grass everywhere. But gardens don't have to be just in those places. And this book is about how a boy and his friend grow a garden in the city, and it's called The Impossible Garden. So I just want you to listen to this book and kind of get a different perspective of how you could grow a garden, even if you don't have a big yard or this big open space to kind of grow something. So I'm going to share my screen. And here we go. Jayden's Impossible Garden by Mélina Mangal, illustrated by Daley. Jayden loved nature. At school, he played outside during recess. On field trips, he pretended to be a scientist, collecting acorns, stones, and twigs. In Jayden's favorite books, kids played in tree houses and climbed trees. But after school, Jayden had to stay inside. "There's no nature here in the middle of the city," Mama said. Jayden knew there was, though. On his way home, he watched the squirrels scourge for snacks. He listened to the calls of the cardinals. He felt fat, furry snowflakes as they fell from the sky and landed on his face. A wheelchair van lowered Mr. Curtis onto the sidewalk in front of Jayden's building each afternoon. It would inch forward and stop, then look around from the sky to the ground. He'd close his eyes to breathe in the cold, fresh air before wheeling in. Jayden wondered if Mr. Curtis wanted to be outside as much as he did. Every day, Jayden walked home very slowly. So when he got there, just as the wheelchair van pulled up, he opened the building door wide and waited for Mr. Curtis to wheel inside. "Thank you, Jayden," said Mr. Curtis. Mr. Curtis was outside one day as Jayden walked up. "What are you looking at?" Jayden asked. That Croesus," Mr. Curtis said. "How'd it get there?" Jayden asked with awe. "Magic," Mr. Curtis winked. "Spring is here." Jayden smiled, wanting to stay, then his shoulders slumped. "I have to go inside. Mama says there's nothing to do out here." "My daughter says that too," Mr. Curtis nodded, "but I just want to be out all day." "Can I go outside with Mr. Curtis?" Jayden asked Mama. "He loves nature too." "What a kind idea," Mama said, "but Jayden, there's no nature here in the middle of the city." From then on, Jayden and Mr. Curtis met every day after school. Mr. Curtis told stories of his childhood adventures in Mississippi, and Jayden shared facts he found in animal books. They compared nature collections. They searched for anthills. They built towers from old boxes, stones, and sticks. "This is our secret fort," Jayden said. They planted mystery seeds in old containers. "This is our magical garden," Mr. Curtis said. One day, Jayden tried to share the secret. "Mama, here's the magic secret fort garden I made with Mr. Curtis." "These old buckets and boxes?" Mama shook her head. "Jayden, honey, I'm glad you and Mr. Curtis are enjoying your time together, but there's no nature in the middle of the city." So Jayden and Mr. Curtis made a plan. "My daughter didn't understand why I wanted her to bring me her empty coffee containers rather than recycling them," Mr. Curtis chuckled. Jayden helped Mr. Curtis decorate the coffee containers. They planted zinnias, marigolds, and Nordstrom seeds inside them. "Mama said I shouldn't keep trash," Jayden said, smiling, "so I told her I was recycling this milk jug." Mr. Curtis helped Jayden cut holes in the middle of the jug and attached a string to the top. They filled it with Scarlet Runner bean seeds. Together, they discovered something new each afternoon that summer. While watering the garden, they plucked a caterpillar and put it in a jar. It became the guardian of the fort. After watching a spider weave its web, Jayden stretched an old basketball net across the top of his tower and knotted it in the bottom. It became a tiny hammock. When flowering green vines began inching along the laundry lines, Mr. Curtis twirled the tendrils toward the tower. They became a royal rope bridge. Jayden was almost ready for the last part of his plan, showing Mama a magical secret fort garden. But would she see the garden the way he and Mr. Curtis did? Was there enough nature to show her? One hot summer evening, the secret got out. Did you see those butterflies? Asked Shanice from down the hall. Listen to that cooing, said Mr. Williams from upstairs, pointing to the mourning dove nesting in the royal hammock. Look! Everyone rushed to the rope bridge. Mama hurried down the stairs toward the small crowd. What's wrong, Jayden? Listen, Mama, Jayden whispered, taking her hand. A hummingbird, Jayden said, pointing. Mr. Curtis nodded. Neighbors smiled. Everyone soaked in the beauty that surrounded them. It's our magical secret fort garden, Jayden beamed. This time, Mama saw what Jayden saw. The magic of nature was all around them, right there in the middle of the city. The end. Such a really sweet story about how sometimes our perception of what nature and what a garden might be can actually, not necessarily be the only way, right? Jayden and Mr. Curtis saw nature everywhere, and they were able to create a space, even in the busy, bustling city, a place for nature to flourish and to be bountiful and beautiful. So I hope this inspires you a bit, and go outside and go on a nature hunt, or do nature bingo and look for things and listen for the sounds, and just enjoy that nature is all around us. And I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.